Melbourne City, 30 goals. He leads the league in shots per game. He is a handful whenever he plays, will be tonight in City's wonderful away kit. Alan Stajic looking for a bit more from his side, ruining his luck on Sunday. Undone by a counter-attack in the second half by Wellington Phoenix, about their only foray forward. Can the Mariners go top? Second chance they get at it in the space of a couple of days. Patrick Kisnorbo called it flat, wants more out of his side. Beat ourselves, he said, against Perth Glory. Opportunity to rectify that situation a few days on. Could not ask for better conditions midweek, but of course we jumped the gun, and Steve Lucas, the referee, is going to ask to do it again. I think it was Craig Noon just a bit keen to get things going. Now we're set, now we're away. Second time of asking City, as they do off the kickoff, looking for territory straight away. Adam Peacock alongside Andy Harper. Harps, you couldn't ask for a better evening for football.
Isn't it a beautiful, beautiful night? Been treated to plenty here over the years. The stadium, situated as it is on the Brisbane water, just looks magnificent. Playing surface in good nick. Palm trees with a great view of a team which has started well. Joint top of the comp, can go clear first in the A-League. The Mariners with a win tonight, big job in front of them. Coming off the loss as they are, and the loss that has stung Melbourne City last start.
And you've watched a lot of Matt Simon in the A-League, Harps. When you think of Matt Simon, you think of?
Well, just watching that highlight, I'm very happy VAR wasn't in when he started, because I reckon that goal would have got rubbed out.
He'd be on 50, not 51.
Yeah. Well, I remember distinctly when Matt broke into the league. Laurie McKinnon was the boss at the time, and as is the case now, Matt Simon makes things happen. Might be unorthodox, might be unfavourable in some people's eyes. I think as a football player, he's often underrated, underappreciated, not by those who coach and play with him, but he always makes something happen. He did that when he first broke into the team. He's still doing it 200 games later. Good
battles at either end, with strikers up against very much in-form central defenders tonight, as Birighitti comes out, claims that over the back of Kai Rolls, who himself has been in good form. But I reference Ruan Tonyik, who has Jamie McLaren for company tonight, and at the other end it's Simon up against Curtis Good, who has started so well this season for Melbourne City. It's Craig Noon starting on the right tonight. Young Kieran Stokes alongside Curtis Good at the back for Melbourne City, and down pitch side for us. It's a very good evening to Mark Bosnich. It's slightly different conditions from Sunday Bozza.
Just a little bit. Good evening to you, Adam, and to Andy, to all our viewers of this. I'm just waiting to see if there's going to be a little bit of action. Yeah, absolutely fantastic conditions here. 22 degrees Celsius. No breeze whatsoever. Great night for football. Just a few little things. Obviously, Oliver Bozanic is out, so Mikhail Yanota will play alongside Stensness. Jaden Cassell, like you mentioned, the star man of that NPL Grand Final for Rockdale, is going to play on the right side, with De Silva taking up his position on the left side.
City have created a nice little overload down this left side here. Berenguer with a floated cross. It does find Luna at the back. He can't get the shot off, so he elects to bring in Noon, and it's away for a corner.
Bit of an escape there for the Mariners. The ball over into the penalty area, floated by Berenguer. Clisby just can't get to it. And that touch from Luna stuck a little bit. His head goes into his hands. He knows the momentum of the attack was snuffed out at that point.
2-on-1. Noon looking to link up and make advantage of that numerical advantage out there. And over it comes, and it's nicely headed away by Jack Clisby. The Costa Rican Urania, who has just this wonderful CV. 67 appearances for Costa Rica, those 2 World Cups. Well travelled, vastly experienced. Galloway and Noon. Can't miss Craig Noon tonight with those boots on. They're happy with this patient build-up, Melbourne City. Metcalf, that's under hit from Luna, but he gets another crack at it. He can play in McLaren, but it's too much on it, Birighitti claims. Party trick from Yonota didn't come off. Dives in and wins the ball back well. And that will be one of the big questions for Central Coast, the balance and the calmness that Ollie Bozanic has brought so far this season. Andy Harper, what does it mean now that he's not out there?
Well, it's a huge loss. He's been outstanding, Ollie Bozanic, given the team real focus and leadership and drive out of midfield with a bung shoulder. The team is better with him on the field, but you know, that's to underscore the potential impact of Yonota. He looked, when he came on the other night, very polished player, no pun intended. We've seen already tonight, nice close control.
Here's Clisby down this left-hand side, early cross, early ball, Urania over the top.
Beautiful burst from the Mariners. Clisby getting his first attack and a good ball into the box, and Urania arriving on time. He's probably half a yard behind where he wanted to be really be able to control that. Warning shot for Melbourne City.
Played their way through here, but Metcalf slips in an inopportune time. It's a little heavy in the middle of the park, expected because it rained pretty much all game on Sunday. Not a lot of time to get the pitch back to 100% perfect condition. Stefan Negro gets that down beautifully and makes the link up with Casella. Good for company, but Jack Clisby's cross there, he came up with a few beauties from dead ball opportunities on Sunday, and his crossing from that left-hand side was of a high standard as well. Looking for more of that. The early ball that really created that opportunity. Yonota playing linesman as well. Tonic, heavy touch. They've gone all the way back here after hitting Danny De Silva, looking to play forward about 5 passes ago, and it's pump it long for Matt Simon and second balls, which Stefan Negro is there for. Just on Yonota, Harps, speaking to Alan Stagers before the game, he says, oh yeah, he can play a bit of striker, attacking midfielder, defensive midfielder.
Yeah, he's very comfortable on the ball.
It's alive, and that's going to stay in as well. DeSella can run it down. It's got Jamison for company. He'll come back out and try and switch and hit Clisby in a couple of passes. Renia continuing his run to link up with Clisby. De Silva. It's well-timed run from Stefan Negro, but can't find anyone in the box. Nicely crafted from the Mariners.
Yeah, well, Ollie Bozanic out, Yonota in. And you're just watching the way he plays. I mean, Bozanic is free to play again. Yonota could easily move up the field in behind the strikers. He's got beautiful technique. Very comfortable in tight situations. These are the early assessments, of course, which is a rare thing for the Mariners then to have competition for that type of play, because Danny De Silva's sitting in that attacking midfielder position at the moment and doing well. Stajic with arguably some things to think about with a full deck of cards.
Yonota has been dispossessed and McLaren is through here. Tonic recovers well. Seen that a few times so far this season. Really composed defending. Next touch as on midstream with a compliment.
Well, he deserves them. He started the season really well. In fact, you'd have to say, thrown his career a massive lifeline this year. Just remember the days when Ruan first came onto the scene. And you thought, wow, here's one to watch, and disappeared for a number of years. Vague appearances at a series of clubs. This year has looked really, really good.
It's a I'm just about to book you type whistle from Stephen Lucas on Luna. Instead, it's a talking to, and on another day,
Well, he's very fortunate. Stephen Lucas showing a fair degree of patience, telling Adrian Luna just to keep his head.
Opening 10 minutes. Bozza, in your opinion, who's settled the best?
Well, originally it was Melbourne City who got into their passing routine, but for the last 5 minutes or so, it's definitely been Central Coast Mariners. Their directness causing, as it has all other teams this season thus far, Melbourne City some trouble. And just a little bit on Melbourne City, obviously Berenguer's come in for Gomolka and Scott Jamieson has come in at left back for Garuccio. With Berenguer coming in, he likes to play a little bit further forward, but to be fair to Alan Stachich and Central Coast Mariners, what they're doing, they're bringing De Silva and Cassell a little bit more inside to try to force him to actually be one of the pivots along with Connor Metcalf. So right this moment in time, Melbourne City are finding a little bit difficult to get the grips of that. But for me, the last 5 minutes has been Central Coast Mariners.
To keep an eye on that midfield battle with numbers perhaps even.
Just one last thing to add as well. It's going to be very interesting to see how Melbourne City deal with set plays, where they have conceded a lot of goals thus far this season from set plays.
Good point, Mark. Clisby stretching for that one. It's pretty silky, isn't it, from Yanotta, the touches and the little movements to get himself in the right position to get on the ball. And speaking of on the ball in the right position, that's where Mariners want Danny De Silva facing forward. Casella, quick switch. Here's Matt Simon. Does he shoot? No. Little kick to the back post looking forward. De Silva to side there, Harps, nearly opening up a big opportunity.
Well, I reckon most people in yellow and blue who've turned up here today were hoping Matt Simon takes a touch toward goal and has a go himself. It was a good attack otherwise from Central Coast, who showed a real willingness to pump players forward.
So this is interesting from Melbourne City. You've got around the penalty spot, they've conceded a numerical advantage. There's 4 Mariners and 3 City players, and they've gone zonal inside the 6-yard box. See if anyone comes up with a free header. Tommy Glover went for it, and he'll say, no, I didn't mean that. I was always leaving it. Glover, who played 4 times for Central Coast. He was actually on loan from Tottenham Hotspurs at the time before coming back permanently to Australia, and obviously now the clear #1 at Melbourne City. His debut was a day to forget here for Central Coast. It was in that 5-1 loss at the start of round 1 in 2017. It's foul on De Silva. Second sticky touch, if you like, from Tonyik. Oh, it's well worked, and it almost releases Irania, who just had to wait for it. Clisby needs a hat on out there. Can't see a thing. Looking into the setting sun on a beautiful night here in Gosford. Stefan Negro's looking for the ball over the top. Tonyik tries it, but it doesn't come off. And City, do they try and break, or do they just get back in control possession? No, it's the latter. Interestingly, last year, Harps were under previous management. Melbourne City liked to send one of the fullbacks when they were playing out into midfield, give another body there. Now Galloway's gone there now. I haven't seen it too much so far tonight. They did it with fair success.
Yeah, well, their key triggers are the 2 more forward midfields. Boss has already identified the Mariners setup, which is forcing Berenguer a little bit deeper, a bit narrower. But unless they're immediately hitting on the counter-attack, their key triggers, here we go.
Here's a big chance. Simon can play in De Silva, but Glover is out quick. Simon's asking for a free kick from Stephen Lucas, who played advantage there.
Yeah, just overhit the pass. It was a great opening. Kieran Stokes with the heavy touch.
Craig Noon looking for Naoki Tsubaki, who we haven't called his name yet. He's seen little of it. De Silva. Stensness. There's a chance here because Stefan Negro's made a good run forward, but they elect to turn back. But more to your point about City midfield.
Yeah, unless they're playing immediately in transition. It's Luna in his right midfield position and Berenguer in his left. They're the triggers. Fullbacks get the ball into them, and then the rotations start in those inside right, inside left positions, and the fullbacks joining in. And if you can manage to snuff those triggers out, Luna with the touch, it wasn't Kieran Stokes, my apologies, and Matt Simon's touch was too heavy. A couple of good sights at goal, the Mariners, early on. A couple of really good sights at goal.
Yeah, they haven't quite settled into full rhythm, Melbourne City, and a couple of these touches, I don't know if it's the pitch or it's just the players lacking a little bit of concentration or confidence. Inotta. Stensness, who is like Oli Bozanic, started this season so well in the centre of the park for the Mariners. Inotta's done well to twist free and win a free kick. He's not fazed by much on the ball, the pole. There's some forward runs coming for the Mariners, and it's Casella over the back making good stretch for it. Urania. Negro just had to prop for it. Inotta observing that perhaps there's more of a chance to play forward down this right side, but it's a loose pass. Turns over possession. It's Kieran Stokes, young player that came on for an injured Roston Griffiths, and since then he's kept his spot, the central defender, 18-year-old on the ball right now for City. He's got those thundering hooves of Matt Simon trying to hunt him down, but they'll turn the ball over. Is Simon onside? Yeah, the flag stays down, and that's a smart save from Tom Glover off the boot of Danny De Silva.
Just excellent play from the Central Coast. Firstly, without the ball, their press was magnificent. Well organised, very well coordinated, really hungry to win the ball back. Their players closing down, not just for the sake of it, but with real intent. And they squeezed the space, won the ball back, played it forward. De Silva's shot on goal was an excellent one, matched by the great work of Glover in goal.
Clisby, no, it's going to be De Silva with an outswinger, and Matt Simon just lifts himself into the air. Quite come off. Come straight back. Urania, that's a clever header. There's a sense of composure, Harps, on the ball. I don't know if you share that sentiment.
Well, they've obviously had a very vigorous pre-season, the Mariners. And they've developed a great fighting spirit amongst this team. Assisted by the 3 wins they've picked up, that always helps. And then into that mix, whilst you've lost Bozanic, it's a big blow, but you've picked up a couple of quality technicians. And Inotta's really helping them settle because he's so calm on the ball.
Tsubaki, first meaningful touch to be able to play forward, and that's asking way too much of Craig Noon.
And Melbourne City still flat, if we're to use Coach Paddy Kaznorbo's descriptors. being outplayed at the moment by the Central Coast Mariners.
There is that week 6 loss just on Sunday against Wellington, but the statistical analysis of that second half throws up domination for the Mariners. 15 shots to 4 over the Knicks, 8 corners to 1, 28-7 balls in the area. Just couldn't put them away, which is just the sport of football. Simon over the back, winning the first header and allowing the second to happen. Danny De Silva thought about maybe a first-time shot. Quick feet from Clisby. But there was 4 Mariners around where that eventually went. From Clisby, Renya. Now they can break City. Metcalf, Luna. It's probably on down this right side. Berenguer. And a little wasteful from Scott Jamieson. Frustration, Bozza creeping in for City. Evidently. He's listening intently. Sorry, Bozza, sense a little frustration from Melbourne City at the moment?
Most definitely. There's no doubt about that. But, you mentioned about lack of confidence, that and the other, but the biggest thing is because of the way Central Coast Mariners are playing. Their closing has been absolutely excellent. When they get on the ball, they've got a very, very clear idea what they want to do with the ball, and it's causing Melbourne City problems. Thing is, obviously, quite obviously, can Central Coast Mariners continue this? Because Melbourne City will come back into it, there's no doubt. But right at this moment in time, they're finding it very difficult against what is a very good Central Coast team.
Here is this fullback operating as a midfielder system to just leave City with 3 to play around at the back. And this time they get out. Now what does that leave when the ball turns over quickly? Well, Tonic elected not to play forward. We didn't find out. Stensness, first time ball is a beauty out to Renya. He elects to go across the ground. I'm not sure Matt Simon wanted that. He was calling for an aerial service on that occasion.
Well, don't put it past Renya to have seen Matt Simon and maybe been a little worried that he was drifting offside. Beautiful ball from Stensness. I reckon when he looks up, he thinks Matt Simon's offside, and he had a case. A good intercept from Jamieson. They're in trouble again, then Melbourne City. Passes not finding their mark. Orchestra's out of tune at the moment.
Stefan Negro finding Tonic, and they can play out. Casella's done really well to fight for that. And Stensness is harassed into a mistake, and they can use the open side here through Galloway, who's looking to link up with Craig Noon. Running at Clisby. Noon, we've seen him do magic from the right, and he's come up with a beauty of an assist. Adrian Luna is the man on the spot, and City have an unlikely lead.
That's a killer for Alan Stajic and the Mariners. They played so well. But one-on-one situation, Clisby just shows too much inside. It's too easy to beat. And Luna ghosts through, unchecked. That's the dangerous moment there. Birighitti beaten at the near post. No blame on the goalkeeper. And they haven't been in tune, but finally, Melbourne City hit the note.
Most certainly through Uruguayan, his 6th goal for the club. Goal-scoring midfielders, rolled goal wherever you look, and yeah, give the signal and be happy. Adrian Luna, why not?
And all your good work as a team, very, very good work, comes undone. And Jack Clisby wouldn't need to have read the pre-match briefing notes because he's played against Noon enough times to realise his left foot is very good. And he just opened up the left foot for Noon. It's really poor defending from Jack Clisby.
Oh, wonderfully brought down by Matt Simon. Now the assistant has his flag up for offside eventually. Lance Greenshield's down there. So it's the second goal in a row that the Mariners have copped in the midst of dominating proceedings. Another one coming on Sunday in the second half against Wellington. It's City's first goal in the opening half an hour this season. Berenguer. Rotation has him out on the left-hand side. He's looking to cut a ball through to Jamie McLaren, who lost his footing, but the ball was gone. Just on Adrian Luna. He came to Melbourne City from a Mexican club, Veracruz, who were in the midst when he left, and why wouldn't he leave, of a 41-game winless run. It's that little clip of heels with Tonic. 41 games without a win. And in the end, they actually dissolved the club. It got that bad. I don't know if it was a reason for it all, but it could have been some correlation there. Ever gone on a 41-game winless run, Harps?
Well, the seasons, no.
No, good. I won't even ask Buzzer because I know for certain it wouldn't have, like, he would have got the ump after 4 without a win. Here is Noon. Fleet of foot again. Why wouldn't he be after what he just did for Adrian Luna and looking to link up with the Uruguayan again?
Yeah, and very important for the Mariners to be even more vigilant now after playing so well, dominating so comprehensively, to have just pretty much gifted a goal to Melbourne City, who'll be much more confident on the back of that, obviously. The Mariners really need to double down now.
So Bucky looking to run this one down, which he does successfully. He's got inroad for company out there on the left for City. Oh, he does a wonderful little manoeuvre to get free, and that's a good call from Birighitti. It's a foot race between Stokes and Urena. De Silva playing assistant straight away to catch the ball, assuming that it did go out. His eyes were correct. Stensness. Important for the Mariners that it doesn't get all rushed and...
Well, the Melbourne City have got too many good players to think you can afford to back off. And it'll be much better for the goal, obviously. Big challenge for the Mariners to get back where they were. A couple of question marks about Ureña's physical ability to maintain the rage, and of course the chain has one weak link. And it can be difficult for the Mariners.
Interesting down to Mark Bosnich, what football can throw at you sometimes when you're not completely in sync as a team, and then just a moment of brilliance from a very good player changes it all.
Moment of brilliance from a brilliant player, and this is the advantage you have when you have such quality in your team, because as you saw in that first 20 minutes, it was pretty much all Central Coast Mariners, one chance, one goal, but fantastic work, you have to say, by Craig Noon. And as you can see now, after the goal, they start to spray it around everywhere.
Beautiful combination play. Tsubaki bringing in Berenguer, putting the moves on. Poor old Jaden Casella looking for Craig Noon at the far post. Jamison's in there, looking to shut off any potential counter-attack from the Mariners. They can play through Simon now. They'll just have to go back and reset.
And just a massive test of character now for this young Mariners side. once again playing well and then conceding a goal, not too dissimilar to Sunday. Let's see what they come up with now for the rest of this half. To concede a second now would, I think, from a psychological point, completely devastate them.
It was a lovely little finish from Adrian Luna. It was like there was no effort put into it. It didn't need to be. It was just this nonchalant finish from a classy player. Scott to Scott. Galloway to Jamison. Tabaki and McLaren. Metcalf under hit. Could get hit on the break here. Not quite. Well, that's sloppy from Stensness. Tries to rectify it straight away. Can't. Berenguer's bearing down on goal. Here's Jamie McLaren. Another goal for the man who can't stop scoring. He might have hurt himself, but he's doubled the advantage for Melbourne City in the midst of a very good 5 or 6 minutes.
Well, it's a horrible error from Stensness in giving the ball away, and then I think he compounds it by the rush of blood there to win the ball back, but he leaves Florent Berenguer completely open. It's a beautiful pass from the Frenchman. Clever, clever finish from Jamie McLaren. Birighitti trying to cover things up, has to go for the ball. Collects the player late, but there's no penalty in that. It's just a reward for Melbourne City. And the Mariners largely the architects of their own downfall.
Up to 82 A-League goals, quickly closing in on the century. Archie Thompson, if you're watching, I think you're done for in third position very, very shortly, and he's going to get Shane Smeltz before too long as well. You wouldn't put it past him to get it this season. Jamie McLaren. 31 of those goals have now come for Melbourne City as well. Now it's the true test of character for Central Coast Mariners. And here's a chance to immediately strike back. Clisby, Casella, next to the tomato sauce bottle.
Well, not an easy one for young Casella. Beautiful break. Ball in behind for Clisby was a good one. Clisby hangs it up to the far post. And Casella set himself. It's a difficult one to readjust. It's more difficult than the Melbourne City chances, but the point is they've had 2 chances and scored both.
Kai Rolls driving into midfield, and aimless ball forward. And it's exactly what you were talking about, Bozza, about just making sure that this advantage doesn't become anything more sinister for the Mariners. Now they're in a big hole.
Absolutely massive one. And you've got to give Melbourne City credit. They out Central Coast, the Central Coast, if you like, with fantastic closing down, which they have been doing pretty much throughout the game, but just not to the success, obviously, they had with that one. And Berenguer, that is an absolutely phenomenal pass and a very brave finish from McLaren. He saw the goalkeeper coming for him. Very, very delicate, very well done. And once again, just underlying the fact they have got some fantastic players. And when you've got a team with fantastic players and you're playing against them, you can't afford to let your concentration slip, not for 1 second. From a thing of dominance, you have to say, after 20 minutes, now they're going to go, and it looks as though 2 goals down. But that pass from Berenguer was absolutely phenomenal. Just watch it here.
Just took out 4 players at once. Found Jamie McLaren, who dinks it over the advancing Mark Birighitti. I will say about Jamie McLaren, since the goal, he's not overly comfortable, whether it was a dig in the ribs he copped from the keeper.
He was holding his ribs, Adam, you're right.
Eyes do not deceive me up here. Eagle-eyed Mark Bosnich, sideline for us here tonight. Fox Sports. big test of character now for the Mariners. Get something out of this game, they go top. Melbourne City win the game, they go equal top. We have to do a number on the Mariners to get into that first position. Jack Clisby's off on a gallop down this left-hand side. He's got Matt Simon for company. If Clisby crosses first time, there's an opportunity presenting itself. It's good defending from Scott Jamieson, but there is a card. I'm not sure if it's going to be a card, but it's definitely a free kick. Jack Clisby was totaled after he got the ball across.
Interestingly, the referee says there's no advantage to be played. It's a yellow card for Stokes, but the ball ended up in front of the goal. I'm happy for refs to come back and replay it. You just don't often see it. We saw one earlier. Matt Simon said, where was the advantage? I got fouled, and the ref said, well, he ended up in the box in front of goal, and sort of similar ending there. But Stephen Lucas has swept, issued the yellow card. The tackle was late, so I don't know how it stopped Jack Clisby from delivering the ball he intended. Anyway, the Mariners get a second chance, and I don't think it's a bad thing.
Clisby and De Silva over it again. It's like the short corner in hockey. Penalty corner, I should say. Here's De Silva looking to the top of the box. Yanota. Tonic! Oh, what a save from Glover. He was in the right spot. He got everything of that. Ruan Tonic couldn't have struck it any better, just directionally. I reckon half a foot either side. It's 2-1.
And again, these are the way this is what the stats don't tell you. Tonic rising beautifully. Glover saves, second time. Burigidi is yet to get a save. No complaint there about Mark's performance, as he was exposed by 2 errors. And then 2 very good finishes from Melbourne City. The Mariners haven't been able to finish their chances. Tom Glover twice now has stood between them and a result.
So Scott Galloway is down, being attended to by the physio from Melbourne City. Down to Mark Bosnich. We saw earlier, Bozza, and it is Galloway whose night is done. Nathaniel Atkinson coming on. Bozza, we saw earlier a smart save from Tom Glover, one he'd expect to make. Do keepers totally expect to make a save like that as well?
Well, not necessarily, and you have to give him a lot of credit. There was 2 fantastic saves. One during the period when Central Coast Mariners had that dominance. It just goes to show how important it is to have such an excellent goalkeeper. And this one here as well, which will, a lot of people on the Melbourne City bench and in that team will be wiping their foreheads with relief, because once again, from a set play, they seem all over the place. And yeah, Nathaniel Atkinson's coming on for Scott Galloway. If you saw that little bit of period of play, if you were watching Scott Galloway, he wasn't getting back. That was right before the free kick. With the amount of gusto that he normally does, he's obviously got some type of muscular problem.
Here's Bozza. Worked under the ball was Craig Noon. Mihal Yanota pleading his case, which Stephen Lucas is not listening to. So it's a good replacement for Melbourne City halves in Nathaniel Atkinson, who has got pace to burn, and he's a real talent.
Yeah, well, they've still got Ben Garuccio as well on the bench. Got heaps of depth. Not that you'd expect Ben to come on and play on the right side. But they've got players everywhere. Melbourne City.
Oh, Stephen Lucas thought about playing that on. You can hear what Craig Noon thinks of the decision. Nice of him to keep it PG as well. Yanota for Clisby, falls to De Silva. Dwells on it and gets a free kick for his trouble.
Good purposeful play from the Mariners again. De Silva bursting out of midfield, carrying the ball at his feet, attracting the attention of defenders. Craig Noon, in the eyes of the referee, had a little nibble. And another set piece, quickly taken.
Yep. Oh,
too quickly.
Yeah. Lucas wants to blow the whistle to make it all official, which is fair enough. You've got that allotted period of time until the ref says, now I'm in control of when the restart happens.
You can sense the anxiety down here on the Melbourne City bench with these set plays.
Yeah, Paddock is Norba. It's like he's doing an aerobics class. Stretching, straining, and here comes the ball from De Silva. Too much. He's into it, Paddy, isn't he, Harps? He's involved.
Well, you know, first year as a head coach in the A-League. Probably feeling a little bit of a few eyes on him after the result on the weekend. This is the lot of coaches, of course. When you win, it's a relatively smooth couple of days till the next game. If you lose, potentially become very introspective. So it's a big relief, this 2-goal lead for Melbourne City.
De Silva. Cutting ball into Arena. Here's Matt Simon, big moment, he cuts it back. And he's turn provided to get it back to 2-1. Jaden Casella scores the goal after City get cut apart.
Well, they've had some good play today, but this is a beautiful goal to get back on the board. What about the awareness from the 200-man, the double Bradman? Matty Simon with the eyes up, squares it to Casella. He gets his first A-League goal. The ball through from Arena was beautiful. The awareness from Matt Simon, superb. The finish composed from Casella. It all started with the muscular, very muscular header on halfway from Gianni Stensness, and the Mariners back in it, as they deserve to be.
There's the extended Simon clan. Wife Angie and 2 kids, Darcy and Will. Good example from Dad. Sharing is caring. There's Will. He's hooking into a pie, I think. Good on him. Into the chocolate milk before. Oh, he's got the box, you know, the meal deal. Makes a man hungry. Mariners hungry for a little bit more before half-time here, igniting the atmosphere at Central Coast Stadium. Curtis good, that's a bit of dominant defending. Atkinson. Metcalf for that power through the middle of the park. Luna is bumped off it. Ooh, it's a close call. It goes against Jack Clisby. Saw him coming. Jamison looking for McLaren. Good game developing here in Gosford. The great start to the season continues in the A-League. So many watchable games night after night, and this one is bubbling away nicely. There is an intent for both teams to want to play forward. Not willy-nilly, but within their own parameters of what they deem controlled. Tonyik looking for Negroes. Look for that ball a couple of times tonight. It hasn't quite happened for him yet. Very giddy, looking long. There was 3 on the last line for the Mariners there, but it was a bit misguided, but they'll win that second ball. And it's the 200 man. Matt Simon, 200th game for the club tonight. And selfishly giving it up to Casella for goal they get back, the Mariners. Yanota. Comfortable on the ball. Polish midfielder and Stensness. Sloppy from De Silva. Indeed, loves that move. Going one way, drags it back with the left foot. Kieran Stokes. Willed on. Go forward, you hear it. Drive. McLaren's in behind here. Birighitti is smartly into the action.
Opened up beautifully for Casella in the end, but really classy work with the two passes preceding it. Urenia, then Simon.
It's perhaps the beauty of the A-League this season. You've got Urenia, who's played at the absolute pinnacle of the sport, 2 World Cups, to a local legend in Matt Simon, playing his 200th game for his club, and a kid who joined the club after starring for Rockdale in the NPL. It's a nice balance.
It's the almost complete cross-section.
Here he is, the goal scorer, maintaining possession. Shot a handball from everyone, it seemed, but Gianni Stensness, who went to try and win the ball back. Almost halfway through, time added on in this first half. These little figures in the top left here, Harps, a true reflection of what we've seen so far?
Well, the Mariners punished by 2 errors. Punished really well. Impressive finishes from Melbourne City. Too much class to allow that sort of space. But they've had more chances on goal, I'd suggest. Glover's had to make 2 saves, really good saves, and they've got the goal. So, scoreline not completely accurate, and it should give huge heart to the Central Coast Mariners, going to get back into it. It also should give huge encouragement to Melbourne City, who will think, well, we haven't played great, but we're still in front. And that gives us a magnificent foundation, really, to find our feet and start playing our stuff in the second half.
Clisby, maybe one last chance here for the Mariners at the death in the first half on a Wednesday night in Gosford. Tonyik, bit of positivity about that first touch. Comes back, they're going to have to be quick here to make something of their movement forward in the end. Possession is gone. Perhaps that's that for the first half. It is. Gee, that was an enjoyable 45 minutes of football on a big night for Matt Simon. He turned provider to get Central Coast back into the game after Adrian Luna. Lovely finish. Jamie McLaren, another finish. Yet again for the 82nd time in the A-League before Matt Simon used all the nous built up over his long and storied career, not just here in Gosford, but elsewhere, to set up that young man, Jade Casella, for the goal which has the scoreline on a cloudless evening in Gosford. Central Coast 1, Melbourne City 2. And standing by with one of the Mariners midfielders is Mark Bosnich.
Thank you very much, Adam. Danny started the game really, really well and then copped 2 of the goals, but great sign of character. He's right back in it with that goal right before half-time.
Yeah, definitely.